Hello everyone, and welcome. Today, I want to share a heartwarming story with you. A tale about a farmer named Klaus who lived in Germany's Black Forest. No matter how hard Klaus worked, his farm was always the worst in the village. His wheat was thin, his potatoes were small, and his neighbors' bountiful harvests only highlighted his own failures. One spring, feeling utterly defeated, he decided to give up farming for good and seek work in the city. As he took one last, sad look at his barren land, a glint of color caught his eye. There, nestled in a small cup of moss, was a single, perfect egg, no bigger than his thumbnail. It was a skylark's egg. The mother was nowhere in sight, and Klaus knew if he left it, the egg would grow cold. In that moment his plan to leave was forgotten. "Well, little one," he murmured, "it seems we're both having a hard time, but I will not abandon you." So, instead of heading to the city, Klaus spent his days guarding that tiny egg. He built a small shelter for it and shooed away predators. His neighbors whispered that poor Klaus had finally lost his mind, tending to an egg while his fields went to ruin. But Klaus didn't care. For the first time in years, he wasn't focused on his own failures, but on protecting this fragile new life. After many days, a tiny, featherless chick finally hatched. The mother skylark soon returned, and seeing her chick was safe, she began to care for it. Trusting the quiet man who sat nearby, a warmth spread through Klaus's chest, a feeling of success he'd never known. He watched as the chick grew strong, and one day, it took its first clumsy flight, even landing on his boot for a moment before soaring up. Klaus laughed, a real, joyful laugh. He stood up and looked at his field with new eyes. He noticed the soil where he'd been sitting was rich and moist, full of life he'd never seen in his overworked land. He realized that in his desperate attempts to force a harvest, he had never given the earth a chance to rest and recover. Inspired, Klaus decided to try one more time, but this time, he farmed differently. He worked with the land, not against it. He was patient. The next harvest wasn't the biggest, but it was honest. The one after that was even better. Soon, his farm was thriving, and every spring, a skylark would build its nest in his field. Its song, a beautiful reminder that sometimes the greatest success comes not from forcing things, but from having the patience to care for one small, fragile thing, and in that care, finding the wisdom to nurture everything else. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed the story, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more. See you next time.